Horrors of Caligula, a warning from Rome's darkest hour. Imagine a Rome where thunder crashes against the marble walls of the imperial palace, yet the cries from the emperor's chambers echo louder, piercing the storm's fury. Picture senators, not as guardians of justice, but as trembling fathers clutching bronze torches, their flames casting grotesque shadows that illuminate the destruction of their daughters. These men, once Rome's proud voices, stand frozen, not as guards or servants, but as witnesses to a nightmare orchestrated with chilling precision. This is the story of Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, Caligula, the boy emperor whose charm promised salvation but unleashed horror. What you're about to hear is so grotesque, it warns of what happens when absolute power devours the soul. If this tale moves you, like this video, share it with others, and subscribe with the bell icon to uncover history's shadows. Let's ensure these lessons endure, because Rome's screams still whisper warnings we must heed. In 37 CE, Rome was a city desperate for hope. Emperor Tiberius's paranoid reign had suffocated the Senate with fear, turning debates into whispers and streets into mazes of suspicion. His cruelty, executions, secret trials, and relentless greed left Rome weary and broken. When Tiberius died in March at his villa in Misenum, the city erupted in joy. Citizens flooded the streets, sacrificing animals to the gods, pouring wine, and chanting prayers of deliverance. Into this moment stepped Caligula, a 24-year-old whose charisma seemed divine. Known as Little Boots from his childhood among soldiers, he was the son of the beloved General Germanicus, raised in military camps where he earned the legion's affection. His smile, bright eyes, and confident presence washed away Tiberius's tyranny. Senators bowed, citizens cheered, and soldiers saw him as one of their own, believing the grandson of Augustus would restore Rome's dignity. Caligula's early reign dazzled. He distributed bonuses to the Praetorian Guard, slashed taxes, and hosted lavish gladiatorial games that filled the air with roars and steel. Festivals turned streets into rivers of color, with music and feasts replacing fear. The Senate breathed again, and citizens proclaimed the gods had answered their prayers. Generals spoke of him with pride, calling him the empire's savior. But beneath this golden surface, shadows stirred. Servants vanished from the palace without explanation. Young slaves disappeared, their fates whispered in dark corners. Rome dismissed these as rumors, jealous rivals' lies. A missing servant could be a runaway, a drowned slave an accident. The city, enamored with its emperor, ignored the signs, swept away by festivals and coins. Yet bodies surfaced in the Tiber, bearing wounds of deliberate cruelty, gashes and burns no one could mistake. These were warnings that Tiberius's sickness had not died. It had taken root in Caligula. 6 months into his reign, in October 37 CE, Caligula fell gravely ill. Rome held its breath as fever consumed him. Senators prayed, priests sacrificed oxen, and citizens wept, begging the gods to spare their savior. When he emerged, pale but alive, the city rejoiced, declaring it a miracle. But those closest, slaves dressing him, guards at his chambers, physicians watching his eyes, saw a change. The fever had burned his soul. Historian Suetonius wrote he returned no longer human. His warm eyes now glowed fevered, as if he had glimpsed another reality and believed mortal rules no longer bound him. He saw himself as a god, spared to prove his divinity. This belief unleashed a terrifying freedom. No law, no taboo could restrain him. Early excesses became calculated. Senators' wives received sacred invitations. Noble boys were summoned, dressed in silks and painted like courtesans. Fathers complied to save their careers, and Rome excused him. He was young, testing power, they reasoned. But these were the seeds of a monstrous system. Caligula replaced loyal guards with cruel men, turning protectors into enforcers. He appointed Helicon, a freedman, as master of pleasures, tasked with fulfilling his desires, no matter how grotesque. Scribes created ledgers, not of taxes or grain, but of human lives. A senator's daughter became entry 142, a boy, item 198, reduced to numbers in a bureaucracy of horror. Informants named targets, scouts tracked them, and strike teams seized them with military precision. The system mirrored Rome's logistics, now turned against its people. By 38 CE, the palace was reshaped for spectacle. Chambers amplified cries. Torch holders fixed at precise heights forced fathers to illuminate their daughters' torment. Viewing windows compelled senators to witness horrors. Every detail maximized humiliation, turning statesmen into trembling shadows. Caligula cloaked his acts in divinity, comparing his sisters to Juno, declaring refusal sacrilege. Senators, once pious, applauded blasphemy, their voices shaking as they endorsed acts that hollowed Rome's soul. Religion became a weapon, twisting tradition into justification for his appetites. The ritual of light was his cruelest act. Fathers stood 8 feet from chamber doors, torches raised, illuminating their daughter's violation. Guards ensured no one looked away. Failure meant families consigned to ledgers. Wives, sons, all marked for processing. This was psychological annihilation, turning protectors into accomplices. The architecture was meticulous. Corridors echoed cries, windows forced viewing, torches fixed for consistency. Fathers stood hollow, their hands burning with shame, their daughters seeing paternal flames as they endured torment. Banquets extended this theater. Husbands dined as wives were summoned, forced to laugh while sobs echoed through walls built to broadcast distress. Senators discussed taxes amid cries, their applause making cruelty a societal collapse. Repetition wove horror into Rome's rhythm, poisoning families. Fathers saw daughters as potential victims. Wives saw husbands as complicit. One father, Quintus Maximus, carved, "We are the damned who breathe, the dead who walk." The ledgers were the true horror, clinical records of lineage, age, and compliance. Terms like acquisition and attrition turned lives into data. Quotas demanded numbers, monthly acquisitions, festival surges. Violation became governance, punishment, and profit. Fees and levies filled the treasury, cruelty optimized like a business. Survivors scratched prayers into walls, their words trembling. To be recorded was to become a number, outliving you in shame. Fathers read entries confirming their family's destruction. Love turned to ink. On January 24th, 41 CE, the Praetorian Guard assassinated Caligula in a palace corridor. Their act was pragmatic. His madness threatened their power. His death was cleaner than his victims, broken by bureaucracy and fire. Yet the ledgers, torch holders, and echoes remained. Survivors carried trauma. Women trembled at thunder. Fathers returned as husks. Sons lost their identities. Excavated corridors revealed cruel architecture, torch holders, polished marble, graffiti like, "We are the dead who still breathe." Caligula's legacy is a warning. He systematized cruelty, turning depravity into policy. The torches symbolized Rome's moral collapse, flames of resignation illuminating a society hollowed within. Thunder over Rome's ruins seems to echo cries, urging us to remember. This is a call to vigilance. Like this video, share it, and subscribe with the bell icon to keep history's lessons alive. The ruins whisper, the ledgers endure. Let's listen and never forget.